Hi everyone, Marie here with you from Crafty Landing. I'm back with you today for a little come make with me um, using the theme Mixed Media Mayhem Wet and Dry. So all wet and dry means is wet and dry medium. So wet mediums will be things like paint, um, and your dry mediums will be things like pencils, pens, and that's kind of it really, wet and dry. So anything that needs to be wet to be used, like paint, and anything that is dry. So I have with me a range of different things, and you can see here that I've been playing. And this is for Rach and Bella over on the Rach and Bella Facebook group. I'm on her design team, and we've been having themes over the weeks. And for the next 3 weeks, it is going to be a mixed media theme. So I've got here a range of paint. These are acrylic matte paints from Indigo Blue. They also do some acrylic translucent paint like this one. That's Indigo Blue as well. So they're kind of like acrylic paints, which are like your everyday paints, really. They also come in like little tubes like this. So I have a range of different acrylic paints in that form, like a tube form. And I also have here some watercolors, which also come in tube form. And these are just fairly cheap set of watercolors from our local Hobbycraft value here in the UK. I'm not sure if Hobbycraft is the same as your Hobby World in the US, but these are from Hobbycraft over here. And these are watercolors in tube form. But of course, you can also get watercolors in a set like these. Like I suppose these are like powder, set powder. And these are again fairly cheap. What I have found is the difference between these types of watercolor to the tube like watercolor is that once dry, if I've used these, once they're dry, sometimes I can kind of rub the powder off the end result. So I don't use these often because of that. I do prefer using the watercolor tubes. So yeah, I am by no means an artist. I am I don't consider myself a mixed media artist at all, very out of my comfort zone, but I do attend a monthly art journal group, and that has helped me because I've experienced lots of different techniques in mixed media, and my friend Lorna is the class leader of that, and a little group of us meet once a month and we just practice different things. So I'm kind of getting more and more confident with it that way in my art journal. But when it comes to journaling and using it on journal papers, not quite so much. But I have had a little play for today. This is one of Rachel's envelopes. I think it's from the Shabby Blue set. And I just cut out the envelope and then I've painted through a stencil over the top of it. And I quite like that. So it just shows you how things can be altered, just like this one here. This is out of her Valentine set, one of the Valentine sets, I believe. And this one started off, this is the, I've got another one here somewhere to show you. Here it is. This is the actual print as is. So I've just printed it straight off of Rachel's from her journal kit. So straight off, and I have altered it to look like that. So I haven't done anything to this part. I've only altered this part here. And I will show you how I've done that today. And then I like doing things like that because when you use it then as a journal page, look how lush that's going to look. It just adds a bit of something to it. And my little play with the tags here. Oh, I'm just going to sort my lead out. It's coming off my camera. Ooh, there we go. And this one here, these tags here started off as watercolor paper, mixed media paper, and I have done some watercoloring on them. and I've used again the same stencil in the background, and then I've layered it up with some of Rachel's kits. They're from the boho kit, the Bohemian kit. Those are the ladies in the kit. And then for the dry, I've just used a black pen to outline it, give it a bit of a frame. So wet and dry mediums literally is just that. Anything wet like your paints, and anything dry like your pencils, your chalks, your pastels maybe. I have a set of gelatos which can be used like a chalk, or they also can be used as a watercolor by spritzing them with water. So yeah, just have a little play. So those are some of the things that I've come up with, and I really do like this one here. So I'm just going to share with you how I did that one there, and then we'll have a little play with some other things. So you'll see that I even altered the background. Okay, so it started off as this, and then I changed it to that, and then I added my paint stenciling on the top. So this is what I did. Now, this is from a standard inkjet printer. I have an Epson EcoTank. So the only thing I would say is if you're using wet mediums on top of an inkjet, um, something that's been printed from an inkjet, you have to be really careful because the colours could bleed. So be wary of that. Be careful with that. Okay. Now, I am going to kind of stick with the same colour here. So what I used to make that colour up was, I believe I used flesh tint. I used a bit of crimson, and I think I used a little bit of, I might have used a little bit of yellow ochre as well. So I'm just going to mix those together, and we'll see what we get. So just bear with me while I lift my main mat up here, because underneath I have a mixed media sheet. These can be bought from lots of different places, so that you can, it's like a mat where you can just do all your dollop of paint and things on, and then when you finish you can just wipe it all clean again, even when you're using inks. Now that's another thing. Your standard, where have I put my inks? Your standard Tim Holtz distress inks or oxide inks, again you can just press them down there, use a bit of water spritz, and it will turn it into watercolor, kind of a watercolor ink. That is another way of getting some mixed media into your work as well. So you can use your inks. If you haven't got paint, yeah, use your inks. So let's have a go at mixing these. So I've got the crimson. Now, you only need a tiny, tiny amount. Can you see that? That's literally, do a bit more so that you can see it. Literally all you need, and especially the watercolor tubes. For watercoloring, you just need the tiniest bit. So I'm now onto the yellow ochre. These are a set by Reeves. They're called Reeves. So I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow ochre down. That might be a bit too much, actually. We'll see what we get. And the flesh tint. Okay, so I'm just going to put, and I'm going to put the flesh tint a bit of a way down here. Oh gosh, that's really way too much. And you can see that that's like a pinky tone. So we kind of have a bit of red, yellow, and a flesh tint. I have a, oh, wrong one. I have a mixing brush here, and I have some water, which I've already been using. So I've wet my brush, but I also have one of these, which is a water spritzer. And I love these because I have more control. So I can spritz, spritz, spritz. And you can see already that they are getting a bit wet. So there's my red. Okay. There's my yellow ochre. Let's put them in. And if I bring my sheet over, that's not quite the colour I'm looking for. So I'll just mix for a minute. But now I'm going to add my flesh tint, and hopefully we will get more of a, yes, more of a colour that I want, because I just want to go over that background colour just a little bit more. So this is a way of altering one of a journal page that you've already printed it off, and if you want to give it a bit of something, you can do a bit of painting over the top. So I'm literally very gently just going to brush, and I'm doing it lightly and gently. Just going to brush over the part that I want to change colour, the colour of. Okay, I'm just going to go back in there, and I'm doing it very gently. So at the moment it's all fine, it's not moving. If you press too hard, sometimes you will know if it's beginning to bleed the colours from your page, because it will look like you're smudging them. I'm just going to spritz a little bit more water on what we have left so that I can finish off the page here. Just pick up a bit more of that paint so that I can, there. Okay. I just want it there. I just want to go over that part of the page there. Right. Now I'm just going to dip that in my, I do have a towel somewhere here just to wipe off any excess. So I just have an old towel near me when I'm doing anything like this, just to take any excess paint off. Okay, now I am going to turn the heat gun on because I want to make sure that is dry before I do the next step. So I wipe away the excess paint that I don't want. I'm going to bring that back on, and if you don't like the sound of the heat gun, turn your volume onto mute now. Okay. Now I'm just going to turn the heat gun off a minute because you will see here some of the text that was on the printed side beginning to show a little bit on the back. That's because it's got wet. So what I always do is I always make sure, oh, sorry, I always make sure I dry from the back as well as the front. So if you don't like the sound of the heat gun, turn your volume off again. Right, lovely. That will be dry enough. Okay, so we have step one done. I'm sorry if you're seeing a band of light across here. There's nothing I can do about that. I've pulled down the blind already. So I'm sorry about that little band of light there. Right, so next step. I've altered this side of it, but I want to bring something pizzazz in, a bit of pizzazz. So I've got my stencils out. The one I used before was this one here. So I used kind of like half of it there, and then I turned it a little bit and used it down there as well. But this time I want to do something different, so I won't use that one, but I might use, let's bring in some other stencils I have. And this is a really good way of trying a bit of mixed media out, because you are going to be in control of the paint because it's like a stencil effect. So you'll see me in a minute. I have like a flat bristle brush here, fairly wide like paintbrush, as in the width of all the bristles, but it's flat. And I'm going to be taking some paint and I'm just going to be dabbing it on. Therefore, I will still have a bit of control. I'm not a freehand painter. Like I said before, I'm no artist, but I can dip my brush in a bit of paint and then paint through a stencil. So that's what I'm aiming to do. And I have some stencils here. I really love this bit here. Let's try that bit. Let's do that one. I also like this one where you've got florals all the way around in like a wreath. I like that one as well. But for a minute, I'm going to use that one there, I think. So I want to try and bring a bit of this teal colour out rather than go for the sort of corally pink. So last time, for this one, I used a metallic paint and it was indigo blue. No, that's the translucent one. Where's the metallic? Which one did I use? Here it is. I used indigo blue, artist metallic acrylic paint, and it's called Kingfisher Blue. That's the one I used and it gave me that, which is lovely. This time, let's try a different colour. So I'm just going to work out which way my stencil goes. Sometimes it's hard to tell. It's that way, and I want to do it from the side. I think side. It's kind of like a lacy doily, isn't it? So I'm going to use. Shall we try the translucent teal, or is that going to be too dark? Might be too dark. What about this one, Townhouse Blue? Should we try and bring that blue out? Let's use this one, Townhouse Blue. Right, let's open that up. I've got enough in the lid, so I'm just going to use the lid. Got some water, got my paintbrush, remember flat edged. You might want to, if you're using a fairly big, I would say this stencil is only about 6 by 6. If you're using a fairly big stencil, to have more control, you might want to tape your stencil down. But I don't like doing that. I prefer to use my fingers, and I'm just going to get some paint down here first onto the sheet. There we go. And you'll be surprised at how little paint you need. Okay, really you only need, almost like as if you're dry brushing. Now I'm going to do it in stages. With my fingers, I'm holding the stencil down and I'm just dabbing. Can you see my motion? I am literally just dabbing. The reason why I am dabbing is because if I start doing this kind of thing, a swirly effect or a line effect, like as if I'm painting, the paint is more than likely going to go underneath the stencil, and I don't want that to happen because you'll get splodges. I want my stencil pattern to be really defined, and I don't want it to go places. I don't want the paint to be on places where it shouldn't be, just where the stencil is showing. So I am just doing it stage by stage, pressing the stencil down so that it's flush on the paper as much as possible. Not moving the stencil, I'm just doing it very gently. Can you see what I mean about not needing a lot of paint? You really, really don't. You'll be surprised. I might have even put too much paint on here. I might get a few splodges actually. We'll see. So I'm just there. Have I missed anything? No. It doesn't matter if I do. Right, ready? Ta-da! How lush does that look? Oh my goodness me, I love it. Just look. Doesn't it just give it something extra? Helps lift it. So it's a bit bare down here. So now, just like the other one, I think I'm going to do a little bit, sort of here. I'm going to dry that bit off. If I use my stencil now, this part of the stencil is going to be resting on the bit I've just done. So I don't want any paint to be ruined. So I'm just going to dry it again quickly now So turn off your volume if you don't like the heat gun. Acrylic paint does not take long to dry, especially when you're only using a bit of it through a stencil. It really doesn't take long to dry. And because it's a nice warm day today, even if I'd left it here for 5 minutes, the heat probably would have dried it. So I'm going to use the same one again. I'm going to use it sort of this side. I think I might want it like there, just so that I have a little bit. So picking up the paint again, going through the stencil, just dab, 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 no swirling motion, no forwards and backwards motion, just complete dabbing all the time. You might want to put gloves on if you like protecting your nails, and if you don't like getting ink or paint or anything on your nails, you might want to wear gloves. Acrylic paint will wash off easily though. And I think that bit is, bit missed there. I think I am done. Let's have a look. Gently take your stencil away. Oh my gosh, this is so lush. I love doing this. I haven't done it for so long and I don't know why. I've forgotten how much I love doing that. Just look at that. Isn't it fabulous? Let me show you. Look. I love it. I'm just going to give it a zap of heat. Of course, any kind of heat to paper will make the paper, let me put the lid back on this one a minute. Any kind of heat to paper will make the paper start to curl. So if you don't like that, I love the crinkling effect. I love that now because it's had something wet on it and then dried and it's a bit crinkly and a bit curled. But I really love that. I don't mind. If it's not for you, then lay something. When it's completely dry, lay something on it heavy so that it will flatten out for you. I think that's dry enough. So let's fold this one to see what it would look like as a journal page. Oh, it's so lush. Look at that. Isn't it lovely? I think it just adds a little bit of something to your journal pages. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Right, let's do something else. I printed off some, I actually went through all my Rachel and Bella kits to see if I had any bits and pieces left over. Oh, I need to wash my brush out a minute. I went through all my Rach and Bella kits to see if I had some spare sheets. And I found one or two, but not many. That's how much I love her kits. So I've had to go and print some off. But that's okay. Now, oh yeah, let's do this. Shall I do a bit more blue while we've got the blue out? Let's just have a look at this one. Yes, let's just have a look at this one. This one's from the Shabby Blue kit, I believe. Now, beautiful image there that Rach has put. A lovely bit of lace here that Rach has put, and a nice bit of floral and text down here, and some text here. But we do have a block of blue, some lines, and even that big block of text there, which we can do something on. Now, I'm just looking to see what paint colour we could use. We've got some of that blue. Let me just bring that blue back in to see if it would work. It would, but it's not quite the right shade of blue. We could use the translucent metallic-y one again. Or we can use a different colour. Maybe we want to bring out the pinks that's here. or again, a different blue. What about the translucent one? That's the metallic one that we've used. This is the translucent one. It might be too tealy. What have I got here? We have got rose gold. Ooh. Shall we try a bit of rose gold? Or let me see what other acrylic paints I've got. I have got Ugly Duckland. No, that's like a green. This one's another metallic, Brass Monkey. We've got a pink here, but it's too bright. Stroke of Midnight, too dark, too yellow, too green. Oh, what's this one? This one is Park Lane. That might work. We've got a purple mulberry bush. I bet that would work, you know, a bit of punchy purple and an orange. I'm going to go for the blue again. Okay, I'm just going to give it a bit of a shake in case it's got... That's another thing. If you've got paints in pots and you haven't used them for a while, just give them a little bit of a shake to get them going again in case they've become a bit still for too long. And that will also... Ooh, now I've opened it. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, we'll go for it. And by shaking it also means you've probably got enough in the lid to work with. Right, I'm getting my brush out of the water. I've got my towel here. I'm just going to clean that off a bit. Right, there we go. That'll be fine. So dry brush, got a bit of paint. Let's put... I wonder what these two paint colours would look like if I mix them together. Let's just try it. I'm happy with that. Let's just go for that. Right, so we've now got a colour I like. Stencil. What have we got? I'm looking for maybe a slightly smaller one. This one is spots. So we've got some stripes. We could do some spots on there, on that one. I quite like the way that one is going. Let's go. I can see the border because this one has got stitching on it. So I can see the stitching through the stencil, which helps me know where I've got to stop. And I also haven't brought the stencil all the way up. I just wanted like a fade almost. So I'm going to do that. I've probably got enough on this brush already. In fact, I've probably got too much. Right, very carefully. So let's just go through some of these dots, spots, whatever you want to call them. I'm not quite sure the blue is the right blue now that I'm doing it, but hey, we'll roll with it. And once it's dry, I can always go over it with a different colour as well, with a different stencil even. I might try that actually in a minute. We'll do a double, shall we? And also I'm going to have to bring this stencil down a bit because it's not reaching. Oh, cool. Look at that. That one went a bit wrong, but don't mind that. I know I said don't put the stencil over the thing. I'm just going to pick up those dots there just to make sure I come to the bottom. Oh, lush. Look at that. Cool. Right, I really like that one. And actually the blue isn't too bad because looking at it as a whole, it doesn't look the right shade, does it? But when you're only using a little bit of it, it isn't too bad. Look at that. Right, so that's a spotty one. I don't need to clean off my brush. Marie, what are you doing? I'm going to add... No, I'm going to stick with it. Otherwise, we're going to have too many colours going on. Going to stick with that, but a different stencil. Shall we try this one? I keep looking at this one. This is a 13 Arts one. I'm wondering if we should Right, let me just turn my paper that way. And what about if we did sort of like a corner of it here? And I've got stitching again to guide me. I'm going to, yeah, let's just do a bit of it down here. Right, let's go, folks. Let's just go for it. That's what my mum would say. My mum would tell me to just go for it. So that's what I'm doing. See, I'm still using the same amount of paint on this brush. You really don't need a lot of paint. And this stencil pattern isn't the biggest either, so remember, don't start swirling your paintbrush, even though you might be tempted to do that. Just keep dabbing. When you're stenciling, it's the dabbing motion that you want. Okay. So you might be able to hear it actually. You might be able to pick up the sound of me dab, dab, dabbing. I'm moving my hands to keep the stencil pressed down. There we go. Okay, right, let's have a little look. Carefully moving the stencil up and away. Oh my gosh, I love it. Just look at that. Love, love, love. Right, this one then. I like working in threes. I always think threes are pleasing to the eye. So 1, 2, and I want something here now. But what? I don't want it to be too imposing. We've got some spots going on there. We've got a lovely bit of wreathy floral going on here. Let me see what I have got. What did I bring out with me? Let's have a look. Too big a pattern, I think that one is. So not that one. And that again, the florals are too big. The paint would be too much. I have a hexagon, but I think that might be too bee-like. I have smaller dots. No, I think I'm going to use the one that I used on my original tags and envelope here, which is this one. I really love this one. And I think I might be able to use it in places there. Let me just have a little bit of my tea. So I might use that one, but I also could use a bit of that one again. We could put that down and use some of that. Or indeed we could use that one. But I think I'm happy to use, yep, this one. Let's have a go. Right. Is that the right way? Yes, it is. I'm going to think I might start here and then come down. Yeah. So let me start here. Okay, line it up. Got some paint on my brush. Yep, just keep dabbing. Like I say, it's really surprising how much paint you've still got on your brush when you think that you've used it all up. Actually, there's still more. Right, so I need to stop. I can see where the next block of colour on the sheet is. So I need to stop there and gently take the stencil off, she says. Oh, lush, lush, lush. And then we go over here, and I'm just going to use the same stencil again, but this time I'm going to start to come down. So I'm kind of just going to do it, make sure it hasn't gone onto the back. No, kind of just going to do it here now. So I'm going to come down a bit. So I just want to do this bit here. Pick up a little bit more paint, because the temptation is when you start to see that it is running low on your paintbrush, the temptation is to do that swirling motion, but don't do that. Just keep dabbing. Bit over here, and I'm going to put my paintbrush down and slowly lift off my stencil. Oh, lush! Oh my goodness, I'm thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. How good does that? I love that one. Look at it. A little bit of a, but hey ho, maybe I should do one up there somewhere, but no, it's okay. It is what it is. Look, honestly, and if you cut this up now, you would have that bit there, you would have that bit there, you know, or you can just use it as is. Oh my goodness, it's so fab. Right, let me rinse out my brush and put the lid on this blue a minute before and I'm just going to wipe. I should have brought a wet wipe with me, but never mind. I'll just use my towel. We've still got a bit of mat. I'm going to turn my mat around actually, so that we've got this right. Okay, so I'm not using the wet blue. This is what I used earlier, and it's all dry now, so that's all right. So I've got that bit there. This one, oh, I'm lush. It's just so lush. I'm going to put that to one side, and I'll show you everything just before I say goodbye. So that is that one. Now, I have an idea for these two. Right, let me put those there a minute. So these are from, well, I know that that is from Rachel's latest kit, Step into Spring. Sorry about this band of light. This one, is this one Step into Spring as well? I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking belly band. Okay, so I'm going to fold my page in half. This is the pink dotty one, polka dot. Okay, so imagine that that is your journal page. Right, and I'm thinking belly band. So for a belly band, I might use this here. Let me trim that so that you can visualize it. Well, and me, because I just thought about this before coming on screen. I'm going to go, I think I want a blue edge. So I'm just going to go all the way down this blue edge here. And then I want the blue edge. So I want this bit here. Okay, make sure that's lined up. Yep. Yep, roughly. It went a bit wonky, but it will be fine. Now it's gone dark. Sun's gone in. Oh, so 1 minute it's light, the next minute it's dark. Hey ho. Right, let's just put that down there a minute. So that would be my, oh, wrong way. That would be my belly band, okay? I'm just going to fold the edges of the blue in a little bit to help. So I'm just gonna, yeah, do that. Okay, just gonna say that one, and then I'm just doing this to help stabilize the, oh gosh, that needs to be about there. Sorry, I can't talk and think. Can't talk and concentrate. That'll be enough of a scoreline to get me going. So what I want to do is I just want to fold it in a little bit just to help. And I'm rushing like I always am when I'm on camera. Rush, rush, rush. Okay. This is not quite as straight as I would like it. What on earth is going on here? That's that one. Right, come on. Let's just get this going here. Right, that bit. Okay. Definitely wonky, but hey, we're on camera. It's okay. These things always happen when you're filming. They really do. Right, let's get that one going. And let's get that one going. Okay. Right. Turn it over. Let's just get that one. Okay, wonky donkey belly band, but that's all right. Right, there we go. So that's going to be my belly band, okay? But I want to do something to the background before I put the belly band on. So I'm thinking of this one here. Now, the only thing about this one is that the space for the paint is very, very wide. The other ones that we did, the stencils were quite small, weren't they? So only a bit of paint came out onto the paper. This one, a lot of paint is going to come out of the paper. And I'm thinking, am I confident enough to do this? And I'm, no, but shall we have a go and see? And then the belly band would go back on the paper and you'd have this bit of the stencil and this bit of the stencil. Let's go for it. But of course I need a different colour. Don't want blue. I'm kind of needing, bring this back in, I'm kind of needing a pinkish colour. Do I want blue? No, definitely kind of a pinky colour. What have we got here? It might have to be a bit of the other pink I had was way too bright, wasn't it? Where is it? Oh, do you think that's too bright? I do. We might need to tone it down, but I haven't got any white. Let me see what I've got in my tubes. I know that haven't got any pink, so I'm not going to use that pink, it's too bright. But I have got I've got that crimson, which is like a pink. I've got this, no, that's, right, let's use that crimson again, which is this one. I think I'm going to go for crimson and tone it down with a bit of, I haven't even got white in here, have I? Deep yellow. What's that? Is that brilliant red? Shall we try just the flesh tint on its own with that crimson, not the yellow ochre this time? Shall we try that? The only thing is, I don't know if I have put enough enough paint down there this time, because we've got quite a big gap, haven't we? So get my spritzer out. Of course, acrylic paint doesn't need to be watered down usually, but I need to clean my paintbrush, don't I? But I tend to do that. I don't know why. I just find it easier to mix colours, I think. Right, we've still got some of this blue left on this paintbrush here, as you can see. Let's get rid of that. All right, let's see what we can do with these two colours here. What have we got? Ooh, that's way too, I don't know. on screen I've got the blind down, so you can't really see what colour it is, but I don't think there's enough paint anyway to do what's that? That's the flesh tint, deep yellow. I wonder what would happen if we did put a tiny bit of yellow in there. Oh, this is where you need Steph, because Hilltop View Journal Steph, because her colour mixing and her mixed media is fantastico. Why is that not going on properly? Oh, I'll sort that out in a minute. Right, I am just going to, what have we got here? Ooh, no, Marie. What on earth were you thinking of? Okay, let's scrap that entirely. I'm going to rinse my... We are going to use, ladies and gentlemen, let me move that. Let's use the rose gold. Where is it? Here it is. Let's use a bit of the rose gold. Right. It's a bit watery. I'm not quite sure about this because it's a bit watery. So I wasn't convinced that it's still rose gold, if you know what I mean. Have I got another brush that I can use that I'm not using this same one? I'm just fumbling around here now, folks. Nope. Right. Okay. Let's just use this one. Right. Okay. Let me... It is quite watery. Oh well, we can but try. Let's see. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. What's the worst that can happen? You just have to print off another bit of paper and try again. Here goes, folks. Oh, it's definitely rose gold. Whether it's going to go with this or not, I don't know. I'm not quite sure it's the right colour combo, but we'll see. I'm moving my hands to make sure the stencil stays flush on the paper. So that's why I do it in stages. Make sure. Move my hand again. Let's go down this side. It's almost like your hand is stretching out the stencil so that it stays fixed to the paper. Might need a bit more paint. You will be able to tell when your paintbrush is beginning to get a bit dry of paint. Oh, we're 2/3 of the way down. It looks awful on the camera, I can see. But it is looking rose gold to me. I might have to dip it in that one a minute. Yeah, right. Let's just move my hand down. There and there. We are nearly there. Nearly. Now, are any of you going to give this a go? Any of you got stencils? Paint? The only thing, of course, I haven't used is my anything dry. And that will be my pencils and my pen, of course. I have thought of something we could do, actually. Right. I'm not going to rinse my brush off just yet until I check that I haven't missed a bit. Yes, see the splodging up here. Too much paint up there, but it does get a bit better down here. Right, in that case, I'm going to rinse my brush off, put the lid back on my paint, but I haven't quite finished. I do have a bit of an idea. I'm going to dry this quickly, so turn your volume to mute. Right, I'm hoping that'll be enough. I just want to point out again the fact that because this is an inkjet printer that I've used, if I had anything printed on the back, so if this was double-sided, you would completely have ruined whatever's on that side, because look, the paint has come through, and that's because this is an inkjet printer. Laser printers, you might get away with that, but because this is an inkjet one, you do have to be really careful. So never do mixed media, wet medium on a double-sided inkjet, because it just won't be able to cope with it. I think this is dry. Yep, yep. So what I thought we could do, but I'm not going to do it now, but with a pen, your chosen color pen, you could actually go through where the stencil has given you the, the space, the main pattern, and you could go through the painted parts of the stencil, but I don't think I'll do that. I just want to put my belly band back on to see. Yeah, actually, that's not too bad, because the whole space has now been broken up. And actually, I think if there was blue, if there was a bit of this belly band here and here, it would probably look okay. So I might do that and post a photo on the Rach and Bella Facebook group when I've done that. But hey, there we go. So we have done that one today. What's my favourite? My favourite has to be this one. I love what we've done with that one. I also showed you a bit of wet paint, and then the stenciling. That's the blue metallic one. These are just lush. And also I didn't show you how to do these, but these are an idea where you could just do the painting and a bit of stenciling on some plain mixed media paper, or on a cutout envelope. So yeah, have a little play. Show me what you've come up with yourselves. So I hope that was okay. I hope you've had a little bit of inspiration. I've had fun. It's taken me out of my comfort zone, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the other design team members come up with this week for wet and dry. So thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Bye.